It is Friday today, and we will be looking at Nick Shook's 2026 NFL mock draft 1.0. The Jets, Bills load up on wide receiver, Cardinals jump on a running back. Today will be another mock draft review. Today we'll be looking at Nick Shook's mock draft, as I just read out. I'm blessed to be back with another video here today, guys. Even though this video gets like 3 views, it doesn't matter. I love reviewing these. So we're going to go with the Vegas Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza here. I love Fernando Mendoza as a prospect. He's not my favorite quarterback coming out the draft ever, but he is a solid prospect. I think people kind of underrate that. I think his pure willpower to actually lead a team and just like unmatchable to some of these other guys in the last couple draft cycles. I really like it a lot, and he actually cares about football, which I enjoy, and I like it a lot. Even with the signing of Kirk Cousins today, regardless, I'm taking Fernando Mendoza 100% out of 100 times. I like this a lot for this team, and the Raiders have so much money to spend, they're gonna probably throw back Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I just think taking Mendoza here is not a bad option. Regardless, it makes a lot of sense for this team. The Jets take out David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech. This is interesting to talk about. I don't think he's a junior. I think he was a redshirt senior. But regardless, if he was a junior or a senior, I would prefer Reese here. It's more versatility. And I think I have less concerns with Reese as a prospect than I do David Bailey. I know Reese does have his prospects. I don't know how well he translates to the NFL level, especially with out that like stacked Ohio State line too. So like he'll be like the primary edge rusher immediately going to the NFL, which I have concerns there because there's a lot of like refinement he needs to do on the edge rushing side of the ball. But and like how does he like split his development in New York? And New York isn't very great at developing talent as we've seen in the past. So there's areas there, but I think David Bailey also has like decent strength. It's like marginal. Like there's some reps where he looks really good getting to the quarterback with strength. Like he can just bulldoze him. There's other areas where like he sometimes just gets flat out like messed up. And then there's also areas where he just rushes to the quarterback. That's his forte. He rushes to the quarterback. He gets to the quarterback. There's no debating that. That's his whole mojo, which is getting to the quarterback. But like I don't know. I just think that like I prefer our Reese here. I think there's more upside with him. There's more youth to him, and there's more ability and versatility than David Bailey, because I know David Bailey has played outside linebacker in an outside linebacker scheme at Stanford, but I just think I prefer Arvin Reese more because he played it more consistently and more recently. So it makes a lot more sense for the Texas Tech edge to go somewhere else than the Jets. But again, you want an edge rusher, and this team has divided their money, divided their roster moves differently to the point where I'm like, okay, they're going for an edge rusher in the draft. Just take the pick of the litter because you're going to take Mendoza off the board first, and then second, the draft really starts at number 2 with either Bailey, Bain, or Reese available. So it's a bunch of moving parts, but I think Bailey is not a bad player per se. I just like other prospects more than him. The Cardinals take Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. I love Jeremiah Love as a prospect. Like, don't get me wrong, I love him as a prospect. I don't love his value getting taken at number 3. It's running back, obviously. Like, running back isn't so highly touted anymore. It's not like the most like groundbreaking news ever. Running back isn't the most touted area in the world. If you take Jeremiah Love here, do you want to build for a luxurious pick? Like, who's gonna block? I mean, generally, who's gonna block? Like, I don't really like that. I don't like taking him here. I've always been a firm believer is that you build the trenches. The trenches is how good your football team is on the defensive line and the offensive tackle side. If you have a really good trenches, getting to the quarterback, protecting the running game, like a good trenches will change your entire organization, the direction it goes. And I feel like taking Jeremiah Love here is a little bit too much of a luxurious pick. I think I like Jeremiah Love a little bit more somewhere else. Titans, I wouldn't say the Giants because the Giants have way more team needs as well. Even the Chiefs took K9 and the Saints took HN. So like, where does Jeremiah Love go? I think perfect world he goes to the Titans. In this case, he goes number 3. I don't know how well I feel about it. I really don't. So I don't dislike it. Like, I'm a very optimist when it comes to mock drafts. I'm like, I like a lot of like areas where they where people talk and they're like, okay, this can happen. And I'm like, okay, I can see this happening in this scenario, This scenario, it just doesn't make that much sense for me because I think I like Jeremiah Love more in a better, more like insurance-based system with Tennessee, which has Carmen Brasilla, who's had an upward trend for the Giants' offensive line, and even as the Raiders' offensive line, he wasn't that bad, and he's following there. So I think that offensive line is a little bit better than the Cardinals, especially with some missing pieces in the Cardinal offensive line. So that's what I like a little bit more, but I don't know. I just think that taking Jeremiah Love here is a little bit of a luxurious pick. So take that what you will, but I think people like him here. I don't know. Titans take Arvin Reese, edge / linebacker out of Ohio State University. I don't dislike this either. I mean, with Love off the board, I think this. I mean, and Bane and Reese available, like I think this makes most sense. It does, and Robert Saleh would probably want a weapon regardless. And as I was watching Robert Reese's tape, not recently, but like I don't know, like a month ago, his tape popped out the most to me out of the top 3 edge rushers. Maybe besides Bane, which Bane has his arm length, which is a whole different conversation we can talk about later. But like if you take Reese here, there's a lot more upside, and I think he can Tennessee and specifically Robert Saleh can use him more as a chess piece more than anything. I mean, I don't think he won't be like Abdul Carter or Micah Parsons. I've said this before. He won't be like Abdul Carter or Micah Parsons, where he's a full-time edge at college and immediately transitions to edge / off-ball linebacker in the NFL. He played 51% of his snaps off-ball, and there's a lot of wiggle room. You're not taking for his off-ball ability, but there's a bunch of versatility there. If you take edge here, you take an edge here, and you get your edge rusher of the future. And I think with Love off the board, it makes the most sense here. I don't dislike it at all. The Giants take Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. I think this makes a lot of sense too. I think with Tremaine Edmunds, there's a lot of rotational areas, and I think Sonny Styles, as I was watching his tape, people say he throws his areas, he throws himself into the blocks. I can see that in film. I don't think that's as big as an issue as some people would like to say. I think in the NFL level, when he's not the number 1 linebacker, he's the number 1 off-ball linebacker in Ohio State. When he's not the number 1 off-ball linebacker, Tremaine Edmunds, who will probably be the number 1 off-ball linebacker, he will be a good contrast. He will be great for the run-stopping ability. Tremaine Edmunds will be great for the run-stopping ability, and he also has so much versatility as a safety. And you don't really see linebackers go this high. You don't. You really don't. But I think you can make an exception for Sonny Styles. You made an exception for Devin White a couple years ago, coming out of LSU, number 4 to the Bucks. I think you can definitely make an exception. I really think you can. I don't dislike taking Sonny Styles here. So I think this makes a lot of sense for this team. I think this team needs a linebacker. And I'd rather take a player like Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, even Mansour or Jamal McCoy, than someone like Jeremiah Love. Because no problem with Jeremiah Love. I have him as a top 3 player in his class. The only problem is he's a running back. This team doesn't need a running back. It'd be different for the Titans, who can have the luxurious pick as a running back. They're not really tied to anybody long term. Cam Scotty was an energizer to this team. Tryon Tracy has not been a bad back. He's had 1,000 yards of scrimmage both times in his career. Why are we investing to the running back position when this team has more glaring holes? This would be different if we're talking about a clear-cut Super Bowl contender that could use a lot more juice in the running back room. If we were talking about the Rams, I pick number 5. Jeremiah Love's available. I would say you're taking Jeremiah Love every single time if he doesn't go to the Titans or to the Cardinals. If Jeremiah Love is available for the Giants, this team has a bad need for corner. Adebo was very injury riddled. Deontay Banks was a swing and a whiff from Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. And Greg Newsome, I view him more as a depth guy in my opinion. He was good in Cleveland. He was fine in Jacksonville. I view him more as a depth guy. I don't think you want to build completely for Greg Newsome. Who else did they sign? They haven't really signed much more talent there. They really haven't. I think right now starting is Adebo and Greg Newsome, and they lost Cordell Flott. Mansour's not out of the equation. You've seen Jamal McCoy run a 4.38 40. He's 100% play too. I think that I prefer that more than Love. I like Sonny Styles. We just went on this whole rant about the Giants secondary, but that secondary is bad. The safety's bad too. Newman is a third-year player. He's going to his third year. He was drafted the same draft class as Malik Neighbors, the round after Malik. He's been very inconsistent. His tackling, which he's really touted for coming out of college, has not been what was advertised. He's been injury prone in his career. He hasn't been the most injury riddled safety ever, but he has missed some time due to injury. Javon Holland, you invested. I'm fine with Javon Holland being a free safety there. I don't dislike that. Tyler Newman has been the biggest problem for me. I think Caleb Downs, highest floor player, one of the highest floor players in this class, one of the best players in this class. Really, Sonny Styles, just take a Buckeye. Connell Tate, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs. Let's not overthink it. Let's not say, Jeremiah Love, this team wants it. It's probably a smokescreen. You've seen teams try to overpay for running backs, and it's usually smokescreen. So I don't know. I just think that this whole Jeremiah Love saga just needs to stop. Conte goes to the Browns. In-state receiver goes there. He didn't. Yeah. So it's 40 time. I don't think anyone needs to overthink about his 40 time. We're all just digging for straws. I don't think grasping for straws. I don't think that Carl Tate's 40-yard time is a telltale sign of who he'll be as a prospect, because he didn't, like, even as my prospect evaluation, even before the 40 time, everybody with a functioning brain and someone who did some sort of research in the NFL draft cycle knew Conte wasn't the biggest speed guy in this area. If you want a big speed guy, go get Brent Thompson Jr. Go get someone else. Go get the guy from Ole Miss. I don't know. Go get another wide receiver guy. Go get Kevin Coleman Jr. Like, you don't. No, like, we're not getting him for his speed. We're getting him for his route running. We're getting him from his catch making ability. We're getting him from his good compliments. We're getting him from his good high floor nature. And that's what I want from a receiver. But this team needs a good, consistent receiver. They need a consistent receiver. Conte is the most consistent receiver in this class. Maybe we sign Mekhi Lemon. He's the most consistent receiver. And if you want a consistent receiver, go get Conte. It's really that simple. And I think he's my wide receiver one in this class. I did a whole eval 2 weeks ago now, and he was probably my favorite wide receiver I watched. His route running is so crisp. His hands is so good. He gets open. He looked really good. He looked really, really solid. He's a top 10 pick next to another generational guy in Jeremiah Smith. Like, there's a lot more this guy can give to the table than people are giving him advertisement for. I like Conte. I really do. So I don't dislike Conte here at all. Commanders go Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. It makes a lot of sense too. This team needs a safety too. I don't dislike taking Caleb Downs here. Got another high floor tackler, very versatile. I think this team will have a new weapon. Would love it. The Saints take Ruben Bain Jr. edge out of Miami. I think Ruben Bain Jr. can be a great Cam Jordan replacement. I loved his pro day. His pro day looked so fluid. He was getting off the pads, or getting onto those, like, the football sleds. He was getting onto those really easily. He was looking really powerful, looked very violent. The only concern with him as a prospect, which I already have as a top 5 player, maybe even top 3, is his hands. That's my biggest problem. His arm length is the biggest problem. If you look past that, he's really good. His pro day alleviated his fears of not being that great in the ankle mobility and bend category. I think that I'm a little bit more comfortable there. And this team will want another defensive cornerstone. You get another defensive cornerstone after losing Cam Jordan. You get another defensive cornerstone in Ruben Bain Jr. It makes a lot of sense for this team. They literally need a real edge rushing player. Brian Bresee has not been what has been advertised. I don't know. I like Ruben Bain here a lot. It makes a lot of sense. Chiefs take Mansour Delane, cornerback of LSU, fits the Trent McDuffie role. I've said this schematically. It makes so much more sense. Mansour is a little bit of a smaller corner in terms of prospect area, but I think in terms of like actual skill set and ability, he's probably the best, beside maybe Jamal McCoy, which we haven't seen in a year, which is we'll get to next pick because he's right there. But if you take Mansour here, you get a lot of surefire ability. You get a good schematic fit. Spagnuolo likes the schematic fit. If you get Mansour Delane, you also get your quarterback one, which you have lost in Trent McDuffie, and even Jalen Watson, who could have maybe been the successor to Trent McDuffie. That didn't work out, so you're gonna go Mansour here. Really good. He has really good hand placement. The only problem is he's just not the biggest guy in the world, but I think I can look past that. The Bengals take Jamal McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. He had a really good pro day. He had an awesome pro day. He ran a 4.3 at 40. He looked good in his drills. He didn't look like he really missed a step. People have been now hyping on the Derek Stingley train, saying this is exactly what Derek Stingley did. Derek Stingley had a great freshman season, had an injury season, and then had a bad year. That's gonna be the same for Jamal McCoy. He might honestly can go higher than Mansour. Organizations might see his pro day, might see his past production, seeing that he was competing with Travis Hunter, some of the best corners in the college football nation, and says, "Wow, he's been that good. He's looking this fluid. This ACL injury was just a minor setback." I think that's 100% a possibility, and this team needs a corner anyways. So why don't you take your upside here? It makes sense. It really does make sense. So I don't dislike it at all. Dolphins take Big Ione inside offensive line out of Penn State. This team also needs another left guard. I don't dislike it. Semiaba has been a miss. It looks like it's been a miss. So I would dislike Big Ione, another high floor player. He really is, and I think people like to harp on him for that. He's not very laterally versatile. He doesn't get off and get downhill bad. I'm not saying he can't do that. He can do that. He's just not elite at that. He's also very good at strength areas. That's where I like him the most. He is probably the strongest interior offensive lineman in this class. Probably one of the strongest offensive tackles in this class, or offensive linemen, not tackles, offensive linemen in this class. And that's what I like a lot about offensive lineman. That's what I value the most. That's not really speed. I think speed is very important, but I think I value strength a little bit more. I like his strength a lot. It makes a lot of sense for him to go big guy. I like this team. You can use a lot of guard area. Not a bad option. Cowboys take Dylan Thielen, safety out of Oregon. I like this a lot too. After viewing his tape again, it wasn't a bad showcase by him at all. I have view him as a top 10 player. He's an awesome fit for whatever team schematically can fit him in. This team, moved from Donovan Wilson, but he's not a bad option for this team. He played the safety area. This team had a big hole in the secondary. I don't dislike Dylan Thielen at all, and he has a lot of turnover ability. With his team kind of lacked. Obviously, DaRon Bland is a very big turnover prone machine and a bunch of pick sixes in his career. But I think Dylan Thielen can give even more turnover ability. This team needs safety, and honestly, this team could be competitive if their defense plays good because their offense wasn't that bad. As long as George Pickens doesn't hold out, their offense is good. The defensive line for the Cowboys isn't bad either. They have Kenny Clark, Quinn Williams, obviously, Dominic Azuruku, and they're probably going to draft an edge here with a deep edge class. You can take him in the pick 20 or just later. They don't have a second round pick this year, but they can take him pick 3 in the third round, and get someone else there. I don't dislike Dylan Thielen at all. Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami, goes to the Rams. He could definitely be a great option for Rob Havenstein after he's coming out of retirement. I like this a lot. This team could use another offensive tackle. It really can. And I feel like how the board is falling, maybe you could take Jordan Tyson here. Maybe take McCollum, Kenyon Sadiq, 100% in play. Another weapon for Matt Stafford is not a bad option. But I think if Mauigoa comes here, I like it a lot. I do. And I think this makes a lot of sense for this team. It really does. And I like it a lot. Ravens take Spencer Fano, offensive lineman out of Utah. He has him probably listed as an offensive lineman because he has swing tackle ability. Probably use him more as a guard. I definitely view him more as a guard, but after his retesting for his arm length, I definitely can't see him playing tackle if they need him. Declan Doyle likes to use these swing tackles. He used him a lot in Chicago, most notably with Joe Thuney. Maybe you can turn him into the next Joe Thuney here. Don't knock it. I like Spencer Fano here a lot. So if you take Spencer Fano here, you get a lot of high profile strength. You get a lot of flexibility. That's all what you want. And I think this team needs a replacement for Tyler Linderbaum. But I don't know if he will play center. It just depends what the team thinks fits best. But I think he can play whatever he needs to, and he'll play whatever you ask him to. And that's what you want from your offensive line. It makes a lot of sense. It really does. Bucks take Akeem Mesidor, Miami edge. Not a bad option for this team. I would prefer this. I've said this before. I would prefer this over Keldrick Folk. The main reason is because Keldrick Folk is more of a developmental project. You don't know what you're going to get out of him throughout his early days in the NFL career, in an organization that's already on the hot seat per se. So you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. So I think I like Akeem Mesidor more. He's probably the most refined and probably the most NFL ready, mainly because of his age. Most NFL ready prospect yet in this edge group. It makes a lot of sense. It really does, because I like Akeem Mesidor a lot. He was a good contrast to Ruben Bain Jr., and he can get to the quarterback. There was injury concern, but that was mainly inside the interior of the defensive line when he was mainly played his defensive tackle versatility inside. So I think if you play him on the outside, he won't have as much injury concerns, and even he'll get to the quarterback. That's the bottom line. He'll get to the quarterback and play on the edge. I think that makes more sense for him. Just like Makai Lemon, USC wide receiver. Not a bad option either. I think Makai Lemon would be an awesome contrast to this team next to Garrett Wilson and Adonai Mitchell. Not a bad option. I think this team could really use another wide receiver too. And I think they have the amount of capital to the point where they can afford another luxury pick. So they have a pick number 33 and they have pick number 44. They have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. That's good. And the next year, they have 3 first-round picks. 1 from the Cowboys, 1 from the Colts, 1 from them. So they have a lot of capital to swing on some of these guys and eventually build a stacked roster on very cheap deals. So I wouldn't dislike Makai Lemon here at all. And even if you want to move on from some of these guys, this team is honestly not building a bad roster. And I know people will say it's the Jets, maybe from a bias, but from being a Jets and a Giants fan. I think this team is honestly building something sneaky good. I like the addition of Minkah Fitzpatrick. You got him for very cheap. I like the addition of Demario Davis, gets another veteran guy in there. I like you trade away your 2 cornerstones, your 2 defensive cornerstones in Sauce Gardner, obviously, and Quinnen Williams. But you're getting your edge of the future. You're getting your wide receiver of the future. You could possibly get your quarterback of the future in Ty Simpson. You also have a starting quarterback right now in Geno Smith, which is nothing special. Wide receiver of the future, 2 wide receivers of the future, and Adonai Mitchell, who they traded with for Sauce Gardner, and obviously Garrett Wilson, who's been a top 10 receiver, argue with the wall. Breece Hall, running back, maybe they pay him more. Revolving door running back, but like maybe you can pay him more. He just got franchise tagged. And you take Mekhi Lemon here. That's a big three of Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Mekhi Lemon. I don't dislike that at all, and this team is building something good. And I think Geno Smith will probably do a little bit better job. I know Frank Reich. I'm not the biggest lover of Frank Reich as a offensive and defensive guy. And Aaron Glenn has had his issues. I don't know. Maybe they're building something sneaky good, and maybe the Jets actually are better than 4-13 and might end in 6-11. I don't know. It's constant suffering, but I don't dislike it. The Lions take Cassius Howell edge out of Texas A&M. Listen, Cassius Howell is not a terrible prospect at all. You see what I'm highlighting right here? 30 inches, 30 and a half, or 30 and a quarter inches. I had an aneurysm saying that, but regardless, that's my point. That's how much his arm measurements are. You've never seen anybody drafted that high in the first round, let alone in the first round at all. And I know they want another pass rusher for that team. I would rather take Derek Moore. Derek Moore, TJ. I can name 5 people off the top of my head: Zion Young, Derek Moore, Malachi Lawrence, TJ Parker, Keldrick Folk. 5 people I'd rather take over Cassius Howell here, because you know why? They don't have baby arms. And no offense to Cassius Howell, you can probably beat my ass. Cassius, please don't. I like you. I don't have any idea as you are as a person, but your arm measurements are short, and that's the biggest problem for me. And I would prefer taking a day 2 swing on him. I wouldn't mind you taking him in the 2nd or 3rd round. The problem is in the 1st round, I feel like it's not good. It's just not good. I don't think I like it, because he might just get flat out fucked in the NFL from these bigger guys, and you don't really see those bigger offensive linemen in college football. Unless they're obviously going to go pro. But 95 of the college football players don't go pro. So if we take Cassius Howell here, how well we do against pro level talent consistently? He's already not a 3-down lineman. You have to develop him. I don't know. I think the value of tackle is too good at this point. We're at the point where I'm saying I'm taking Cassius Howell over Modern Feeling. I'm taking Cassius Howell over Blake Miller. No, I'm not doing that. The Vikings take a Melvin Warren safety out of Toledo. It makes sense. He's a rangy safety. He's not the most athletic, but he's very rangy. A hard hitter, a hard-nosed hitter. It makes a lot of sense for this team. It really does. And I think I like a safety here. They need another. They need to build from a younger piece. I don't dislike Melvin Warren here. Paylor Lee Hunter, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. I don't dislike Lee Hunter as much, but his broad jump was terrible. He ran he jumped like a vertical. I think it was broad. I think it was he ran jumped like a 22-inch broad jump. I don't even know why you would participate if you didn't test. Why would you even participate in the broad jump? You didn't have a great combine at all. If you watch my biggest risers and fallers of the combine, you saw Lee Hunter was my losers, and he was not good. He just really wasn't good. So take Lee Hunter here. It's more run plugging ability. He's really good at the defensive tackle area to plug in the nose and just stop a run from happening. I think he needs a little bit more refinement in the pass rushing, but I think you can eventually develop him into that. And he also has an attitude change. I've heard people say his attitude has changed a lot from going from UCF to Texas Tech. I mean, good. I would rather you be a non-cancer in the locker room than be a cancer. I mean, who obviously would you want to? So I don't dislike Lee Hunter here at all. Cowboys took Avon Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. I mean, he really is he kind of reminds me of a more safe DaRon Bland. DaRon Bland obviously has a lot of upside as a pick six artist and a turnover machine. Avon Terrell has that too. He's really aggressive with the ball. He can draw the ball loose. He's a great tackler. He's honestly just an overall solid prospect, and I have him as a corner. Maybe after the Jamal McCoy pro day, he's maybe my corner 3 now in the hamstring aggravation. He's maybe my corner 3 now, but I like him a lot. I really do, and I think if he's not too over aggressive, he's a solid prospect for you. And I would rather my player play with aggressiveness than play too passive and giving up constant 6 and 7 yard gains versus actually picking off the ball and playing aggressive and playing with intensity. I like that a lot more than the passive approach. So I don't know. It just makes a lot of sense for this team too, especially after losing Diggs. They're gonna need another corner. Why don't you get your guy here? Not a bad option whatsoever. Steelers take Monroe Feeling offensive tackle out of Georgia. Even with a Broderick Jones trial, I like Monroe Feeling here. I would prefer Monroe Feeling over Blake Miller. Shoot me. I like Monroe Feeling a lot more. I really do. I think I prefer his tape more. He has less lapses. He's played a little bit less. He's a little younger. Like, other than the whole experience area, which Blake Miller has not been perfect in his whole tenure at Clemson, he like, other than Blake Miller being like battle tested, Marvin Fleming's just a better prospect, and I think people need to start realizing that. And I don't think Blake Miller is a round one type player, in my opinion. I think for me, the earliest I have him going is 23 to the Eagles. He's not more of a developmental tackle. He's more of a start now tackle. So I prefer him to a team like the Browns. I don't even love him to the Browns either. I prefer more to a later round pick team. So I don't. That's just my opinion on Blake Miller. You can have your own, but I don't like Blake Miller over Marvin Fleming. So I guess Shook gets it right. Charles Sick, Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana. I watched Omar Cooper Jr.'s tape recently. Another rewatch for this wide receiver class. I love Omar Cooper Jr. I really do. I have him as a wide receiver 4. He's an awesome player. He really is. His contact balance, his yards after catch, his whole area, his idea to find gaps in the zone, which is honestly really good. He's a do-it-all type guy. He played a lot in the slot. He played a lot on the outside. Like, he played literally anywhere, and he was on one of if not the best programs in the country. I think Herbert doesn't mind another weapon. And I don't like the description of saying they can't afford to spend another pick on an offensive lineman. I think you can always afford to spend another pick on an offensive lineman unless you have the best offensive lineman in the world. And there's no guarantee. There's always an upgrade. There's always an upgrade unless you have multiple Hall of Famers, which is very unlikely. So this team definitely doesn't have multiple Hall of Famers on the offensive line. So I definitely don't dislike a guard here. I feel like for the value, I think I like something else here than an offensive lineman. But like, I don't dislike Aaron Cooper Jr. at all. The Eagles take Blake Miller, offensive lineman out of Clemson. I don't know why he hasn't listed on an offensive lineman. His frame is pretty similar to Monroe Fleming's, and they're both left tackles. I think there is no more room for Blake Miller to go into offensive line. I think he's just mainly a tackle, and he's had a much more impact at offensive tackle. I just don't see him moving into guard. I would just have him specified as offensive tackle. But regardless, he's not a bad option. He really isn't. So I don't dislike Blake Miller, but I don't know. I just don't. Browns take Maxi Notcher, offensive tackle out of Arizona State. He's a very big developmental tackle. Again, I think this is a little high for him. I like Maxi Notcher more than I do Blake Miller. Fight me. But I think Maxi Notcher has way more upside. He's a little bit of an older prospect. I think Blake Miller is actually, they're both the same. So if comparing head to head, they're both the same prospects, but in terms of age. But I think Maxi Notcher, there's a lot more upside than Blake Miller. I think Blake Miller already has a high floor. It's kind of like similar to like a bunch of like players in this class. There's a bunch of like high floor players, and there's also a bunch of players with a bunch of upside who are big projects. There's not a bunch of players that like have a bunch of upside that are like really good high floor starters. Like, there's very few. So I think I like Maxi Notcher, who this team needs an offensive tackle anyway. So I don't dislike the ASU tackle going here. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama, goes here. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I feel like this team has bigger needs on the defensive side of the ball, especially after losing 2 of their safeties. I know they did sign Kobe Bryant, but I would want another safety back there regardless, because you did lose a lot. Defensive lineman is 100% play. Defensive tackle or edge, take your pick. So the edge board has fallen very, very good for this area. You have Keldrick Folk, TJ Parker, and Zion Young still available. Like, I don't know. I feel like that makes a little more sense than Caden Proctor. So, I mean, I could see it happening, but I don't know. George Tyson, wide receiver out of ASU, goes to the Bills. Not a bad option. I mean, this team could use another wide receiver. I think even with Moore and Shakir and all them boys who Josh Allen can do, like, Josh Allen can make him work. Like, I don't dislike George Tyson here. Like, I really don't. I don't. It doesn't, like, I won't get upset at getting another weapon for Josh Allen to make him even better. And even with the injury history, I'd be fine taking him and swing him at 26. It makes sense. 49ers take Keldrick Folk, edge out of Auburn. Not a bad option. I think this is a good landing spot for Keldrick Folk, because he can develop under Nick Bosa, develop under Michael Williams, and he doesn't have to be that meat of pass rusher for some of these teams that have him taken so early. So I don't dislike Keldrick Folk here at all. He already has a high floor as a run stopper. He needs a little bit more refinement as his pass stopping. But like, I think that even with this stacked defensive line, he will have a role. He will. And you're not going to take him 27 just for him to sit with his dick in his ass on the bench, right? Like, that position, like, his position doesn't really do that, so he'll get some reps. And I feel like developing under Michael Williams and Nick Bosa, like, you can develop his pass rushing skills. So, like, it might be the best case scenario, one of the best case scenarios for him. So I don't dislike it at all. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Texas State, Caleb Limo, offensive tackle out of Utah. Not a bad option. They did sign, Braden Smith and Wyatt Teller, but I think he definitely played that swing tackle role. I think I'm viewing him as a guard, and this team needs a guard and tackle regardless. So why not we just take the guy who can play it all? I don't dislike it. He needs a little more refinement as a prospect, but his strength and just like his overall physical abilities is not nothing to be shortcoming of. Like, he's honestly solid, so I don't dislike him here at all. The Chiefs take Kenan City, tight end out of Oregon. This makes a lot of sense, even with Travis Kelce's deal with like 3 years and like $57 million or some stupid shit like that. Which was, in my opinion, was an overpay. But I guess Travis Kelce, tried and true, makes sense. But Kenan Sadiq is not a bad option either. I think Kenan Sadiq makes a lot of sense here too, even with Travis Kelce. It's another weapon, and this team doesn't need another weapon, even with Travis Kelce. So Kenan Sadiq can be a matchup, mismatch for some of these other guys, like these linebackers if they're on man. So it's not a bad option. It's another weapon for Mahomes nursing an injury. So with K9, those wide receiver core Worthy, Rice obviously is very inconsistent with his suspensions and his off the field attributes. Worthy, I have my concerns with him as a high floor type player. He's been fine. It's just mainly speed that gets him. The Legion of Zoom, like they used to call it with Tyreek Hill. But again, I don't dislike any of those guys in that room. So I think Kenan Sadiq is not another good option for Mahomes, even with coming back from that injury. Dolphins take Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. He was honestly really good as a cornerback when Jamal McCoy went down. He did exactly what he was asked for in Tennessee, and that's what I want from my corner. I want him to be consistent. I want him to be good wherever he plays. He's not the most he's kind of like the TJ Parker of corners. He's not the most astounding at everything he does. He's good at everything he does, and he will be a good franchise guy for this team. He'll be a good solid starter for the next couple of years. I don't know I have my concerns with him as a long-term high floor type player, but I don't dislike him here. I really don't. So if you take Colton here, you get another high floor player. This team that does need a corner regardless. And if you take Vega here in the first round at 11, and you take Colton here, you get some franchise cornerstones. So I don't dislike it. The Patriots take TJ Parker, edge out of Clemson. That makes a lot of sense too. Even with Chaseon's even if Chaseon decided to come back, I still want another edge. I think this team could use another 3-down lineman. I think he can be a 3-down lineman. He can be a really good high floor type. He was obviously really good in the passing game. No one's denying that. But I think people are being a little too harsh on his run stopping ability. He had really good run stopping tape. I liked his run stopping tape more than some other people did, and he just seemed like he knew what he was doing when it came to getting to the running game, and even obviously to the quarterback. He was really fast. He was really good at closing speed. He was an awesome pick. He's not the most again, he's not gonna wow you physically, but again, he's just a solid player. He didn't wow you at the combine. He didn't disappoint you. He was a solid player, a really good player. I think he'll be an awesome, and it has been a down year for him this year. So I think you can hopefully develop him into a start rusher, which I think he can definitely be. He's definitely one of my higher graded edge rushers, so I like it a lot. Seahawks take Brandon Cisse, corner out of South Carolina, an athletic freak. He didn't really test out that well, or test out in this some of the areas he was supposed to. He didn't run the 40, so he didn't really test out that well in terms of the combine. But he's already an athletic freak. He was amazing at South Carolina. There was some lapses in Texas A&M game in specific, but he was a solid pick regardless. So I don't continue prolonging the corner area. So taking Brandon Cisse here, a good replacement for Tariq Woolen. Not a bad option whatsoever. But thank you. This is Mike Shooks, one round NFL mock draft 1.0. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys thought of everything. I don't know. My favorite pick today was Chiefs find a way to get Kenan Sadiq. Good for them, bro. The Chiefs have done it again. Hang on the ring. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.